Hi guys, so on the 1st of April, a whole load of pain was inflicted upon the public, and as always, those on fixed incomes like pensions, those on universal credit, and people on low wages are feeling the bite of the cost of living the most. As we know, the Tory mantra has always been, if you're on benefits, go get a job. Boris Johnson was challenged by Labour MP Stephen Timms over why the government hasn't helped people on universal credit who are unable to work. And Johnson's response was, well, basically, these people are a minority.
Moving on, Citizen Advice has calculated that a single unemployed person was spending just over 15% of their benefit on energy bills in 2020. It's going to be 25% in April, and it could be up to 47% when the cap goes up again in October. Why was there no help in the spring statement for people dependent on out-of-work benefits?
Look, I know how tough it is for people to meet the costs of energy, and I think that you're raising a very reasonable point, and you have.
Sorry, I just want to say something about this. This is something Boris Johnson always says in a select committee. Whatever the question, he will say, this is a very valid point that you're raising. And this is, of course, an attempt at gaslighting those who are listening. Yes, it's a very valid point. And of course, Boris Johnson does not believe that.
You have to decide where you're going to put your fiscal firepower, given that we don't want to put up taxes and we don't want to borrow anymore.
Now, this is a political decision. Now, there are different ways governments can raise finance. They can sell off assets, for example. They can sell off land in order to raise finance to pay for things. But generally, what governments normally do is they raise taxes or they borrow. Now, it's a political decision not to borrow, and it's a political decision not to raise taxes. If the concern is borrowing, okay, let's park that for a moment. But raising taxes, why are you raising taxes the most on people who are already struggling? Doesn't it make more sense to raise taxes on people who already have money? Not taking money from people who don't have money, but taking money from people who do. For example, energy companies. But Boris Johnson doesn't want to do that, and that's a political decision, not an economic one.
So what are you going to prioritise? And who are you going to make sure that you target in order to have the maximum economic benefit for the whole country? And what we think very strongly is that you're better off helping people into work. And I know that there are many difficult cases, but that's why we're doing the council tax support, doubling the household support payments. That's why we're doing the targeted support for people's energy bills. We're doing all sorts of things to help people. But what we want to do, if we can, is to help people by getting them into work. And so we just talked a moment ago about
those who can't work, who are seeing this massive squeeze at the moment. In the pandemic, you increased universal credit by £20 a week. I think most people recognise that. Our committee certainly thought that was absolutely the right thing to do and a very effective way of helping people who needed help. Why haven't you done something in universal credit to help people now, given this huge squeeze that they're going to be suffering over the next few months?
And completely right here. The universal credit uplift, £20 a week, helped a massive number of people. A lot of people were able to keep their head above water. That was during the pandemic. Now, this cost of living crisis is as bad, if not worse. So why not reintroduce it?
Universal credit we've helped people with change to the taper rate in universal credit.
People who are out of work, asking about people who, for example, can't work because of ill health.
So the majority of I think 67% or so, 65% of people who are on universal credit are either in work or can work, and so they benefited from that. And I take your point totally, but the way we're trying to help them is by the direct support that we're giving for people facing particular hardships. So whether with
why not use universal credit? That's my question.
Because we want to try to support people as far as we possibly can. Because we want to support them through other means. We want to support people into work wherever possible.
And there we have it. The Tory policy is to get people off welfare, to get people off benefits, irrespective of their condition, irrespective of what they're facing, irrespective if they're ill or disabled or have other types of problems. Get them into work. That's it. And I was speaking to a number of people who are on universal credit at the moment. And I've spoken to people about benefits and spoke to people how, and it seems to be the modus operandi of the Department of Work and Pensions has moved away from a situation in the past where it was a social safety net to punishing people, to forcing them into employment, irrespective of their ability to do that work. I've spoken to people who have chronic conditions, and they have met with support workers in the local job centre or whatever, good people trying to help them out. But the problem is from the top. The idea is to force people into employment, get people off benefits. The objective of the Department of Work and Pensions is not to help people, it's to get people off benefits. And there's a pressure being applied from the top on job centres, on local government, to get people off benefits. And here we have it from the horse's mouth himself. We want to support people into work wherever possible. Of course, wherever possible, it's a lie. Wherever possible, we're doing it as much as we can. We don't take into consideration people's abilities. We don't take into consideration a cost of living crisis. And unfortunately, I have to bring Brexit into this because Brexit has created a shortage of staff availability. But the people who the government thinks can fill these jobs are not in the position to either do these jobs, or they're not in the location to do these jobs. What I mean by they don't have the skills, or they don't actually have the ability to get to these sites where these jobs are available. So the whole idea of getting rid of foreigners and replacing them with local workers is not going to work. But the idea at the top is we need to just get people out of benefits and into jobs. We don't care whether that causes suffering or not. But back to Stephen Tim's point, the universal credit uplift helped a massive number of people. Why isn't it being reintroduced once again? Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.